Basement of La Penta. This is WICR.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Vault. Jersey Joe and Big Shot Rob here. And look, a lot of the show today has got to be devoted to the NBA. We've got the opening games tonight. And I promise, Rob, not to hijack this segment again with more Cleveland Cavaliers basketball talk. There will be plenty of time for that later. But right now, one of the other big matchups we have tonight, which I think is a really interesting one, is the defending champions, the Golden State Warriors, taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. And Rob, last season, you made a bold prediction, which could have been very true. You picked Anthony Davis to be the MVP, and for a while to start the season, it really did look like he was the MVP. What kind of leap do you think the Pelicans take this season? You also picked them to make the playoffs, which they did, so you were correct on that. You picked them to make the 8th spot, and they did.
Unfortunately, Joe, I'm picking against the Pelicans this year.
Really?
The Pelicans are not making the playoffs. When we look at, yes, you know what, I predicted last year they were going to be the 8th seed. We go into this season, totally different story. Kevin Durant's back with the Thunder, hands down. It's a tougher Western Conference, and I don't feel the Pelicans have the assets to compete against some of these other teams. Anthony Davis has done a fantastic job. Kind of reminds me of Kevin Garnett a little bit in Minnesota when he had to put everybody on his back. But Anthony Davis can't do this alone. Until Tyreek Evans, Eric Gordon, Andrew Holiday can all play as a core four with Davis, this team will not succeed going farther. We saw what happened when they played Golden State. Golden State easily beat them. And this team, I just don't see that same... I don't see the same team as we saw last year.
See, I definitely agree with you. And the thing that I think is difficult is that's a nice core four that they have there. I mean, those are nice players. It's meshing with those players that's been the difficult thing. Anthony Davis, I don't think there's any question what he can do on the basketball court. I mean, he literally is, aside from LeBron, I really think Anthony Davis might be the second most versatile player in basketball with everything that he does. Blocks, defensively, the way he can score points, the way he's expanding his offensive skill set. There's nothing that he cannot do. It's definitely about taking it to the next level. Obviously, what impact do you think Alvin Gentry is going to make on that team? Clearly, he's got a lot of nice pieces to work with. He's coming off learning from Steve Kerr, winning a championship with the Warriors. Does he come into the room and kind of have that championship pedigree and elevate this team?
Oh, I think so. You know what? Maybe with him, he could focus more on offense. You know, we look at Golden State, Joe. What is their main focus? They're a three-point shooting team. They just shoot the ball a lot. It's not a lot of inside game. So maybe, you know what? You're going to have Anthony Davis. You're going to have him do his usual scoring. But maybe we're going to see the game expand more to the outside with these other guys, with Evans, Gordon, and Holiday. If they're able to expand, put up a lot of three-pointers, then they can compete. But I think Gentry, you know what, coming in, decent coaching signing. I mean, I don't know right away the impact he's going to have, but offensively, maybe he could change this team around.
Well, he certainly made an impact on the team that the Pelicans will be playing tonight, and that is his former team, the Golden State Warriors, who are without Coach Steve Kerr. For a while, you know, he did have back surgery, so Luke Walton is going to be coaching the team in his absence, which could be interesting.
Who would have thought you'd be hearing Luke Walton coaching?
Coaching the defending champions of the NBA. But you know what? Here's the thing. He's got quite a nice roster to work with, so it'd be pretty hard for him to screw this one up.
Yeah, he doesn't have to do much. He doesn't have to do much coaching.
Hey, Steph Curry, just go out there and do what you do. Clay, go in the corner, shoot some threes. Draymond Green, do your thing. I think that's really all he has to say.
Pretty much.
But the Golden State Warriors are an interesting one to talk about, Rob. Obviously, we have not had a repeat since the Miami Heat did it a couple seasons ago with LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. Is the Warriors roster good enough, or are they good enough to repeat again in that crazy, difficult Western Conference?
Oh, they're not repeating, Joe, this year.
Don't think
It
so?
is not happening. I'm sorry, it's not.
You think they take a step back this season?
Yes, I see them losing second round of the Western Conference playoffs. Armand actually, in our morning show today, has them losing in the first round.
Really?
Yeah.
To who?
He didn't say, but he was just saying they're going to win less games. They're not hitting that 67 mark again. But this Golden State team, I don't see them putting up 67 wins just like last season. Maybe we'll see about 50 to 55 wins at most. But I just feel the Western Conference, the Spurs got better. The Thunder have Durant now. They have him back.
Billy Donovan now is at the helm there.
And the LA Clippers, you have the signing of Josh Smith. And some people might say, oh, you know, it's all right signing. But they did add up the pieces they need for the Clippers to compete this year. Paul Pierce, you have Lance Stevenson. Just a lot more competition in the West. It just got a little bit harder. So I don't see Golden State repeating whatsoever.
I think I don't have them repeating either. I think at this point right now, like you said, the Western Conference is such a gauntlet to go through. It's so difficult to see a team repeating. But at the same time, the thing I like about Golden State and the reason I think they have a shot is because of how young the core of their roster is. You look at, the core of those guys, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green, all locked up, all got their deals done. Klay Thompson early in the season. Steph Curry, obviously, he's still under contract. Draymond Green got his done. Harrison Barnes is the only one left who it seems like his deal's not going to get done to start the season. But again, the core, the depth they have on this roster, I still think it's going to be as good as it gets. But a lot of the teams in the West got good around them. At the end of the day, look, I've seen so many predictions. A lot of people are predicting a rematch. Warriors-Cavs.
I would go Cavaliers or maybe Bulls for the East. You know me, Joe.
No, Rob, okay,
Joe, we
folks.
still haven't even fixed that bet from
I was
last year.
going
I
to
still
say,
owe you ice
one
cream.
of the best moments in Sports Vault history was when Rob and I, on the air, we made the bet. If the Bulls beat the Cavs, Rob, I had to buy him Dairy Queen. And if the Cavs beat the Bulls, which, let's all be honest, we knew was going to happen, he would owe me Dairy Queen. Rob, do you really want to go and revisit that? What happened the first time.
I do want to revisit
Rob,
it.
you're nuts.
I am out of my mind.
Well, let me
but
ask
I
you
have
this.
Joe, I will choose against LeBron James. I will always do that.
Rob, you're a crazy man.
I will always do that.
You're a crazy man, Rob. You really are. Here's the thing, Rob, I want to ask you is, the Bulls, obviously, it's a little bit of a different story. Tom Thibodeau is gone. Fred Hoiberg is in, a college coach going to the NBA. Very young college coach, too. It's not like Tom Thibodeau wasn't winning a lot of basketball games. This is a lot of pressure for a guy like Fred Hoiberg, who's never been in the NBA before, to do. What's your expectations for the Bulls this season?
I think the Bulls, they're going to start off a little slow the first couple weeks, but they're slowly going to build up with their momentum. We look at the work that Pau Gasol put in for the team last season. Obviously, they have a couple guys, Jimmy Butler. Derrick Rose, if he's healthy, can do a lot of work. We saw what he did at times last year. He was able to shut down the Cavaliers in the regular season a little bit. Coming into if they make the playoffs, which they will beat the Cavaliers this year, and they will win in 6 games.
I'll tell you what, Rob. Not only am I going to be owed Dairy Queen from last season, I have a feeling I'm going to be owed Dairy Queen again after this playoffs because we saw what happened once. Let's not make it happen again. And that's the thing I think about the Cavs. And obviously both these teams play tonight, which makes it kind of fun. But I just look at the Eastern Conference right now, and it's just, we talked about in the first segment about how LeBron, they kind of need to tone down his minutes a little bit and go a little bit easier with him. But this is something that also helps is he's playing in an Eastern Conference that right now is just not good.
No.
Atlanta won a lot of games last year. What did it happen when Atlanta played the Cleveland Cavaliers without Kyrie Irving? They got swept. It wasn't even close. I just think, look, Washington is a team on the rise. The Pacers get Paul George back. They will be better. But at the end of the day, my goodness, there's just no one who can come close to it. It's because no one has an array like a Kyrie Irving and like a LeBron James. Now, Kevin Love, again, has a lot of potential. He's a very good B-plus player. But I don't think any other team has close to the impact players that you have when you have a Kyrie and you have a LeBron James on the same floor at the same time. But interesting stuff there. I think the next point you have to go to, Rob, is you made some bold predictions on the show last year. You almost correctly picked the right MVP. You did correctly pick the Pelicans to go and make the playoffs. What's your bold prediction for this season?
This year's MVP is going to be James Harden.
Gross.
And the NBA champion will be the LA Clippers.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting one. The LA Clippers. Now, look, the Clippers are an interesting one because I think the knock on Chris Paul coming into the last season was he's never really had a defining playoff moment. Well, he kind of shed that label and did have a very nice postseason. They have all the talent in the world to get it done. Mm-hmm. I don't dispute that for a minute. Let's go to your MVP for a minute. James Harden.
Mm-hmm.
How close were you to saying he was MVP last season? Because it was a pretty tight battle between Curry and Harden.
I was very close, but I thought Curry obviously had to give it to him. Just the way the team took off. Just big improvement first team to 67 wins, you kind of almost reach that mark of what Jordan had when the Bulls won 72 games. And the work that Curry just does, what he does with his teammates, how he makes them better. He just doesn't shoot the ball at all the whole game. He gets the ball to his teammates. He works hard with his teammates. I mean, James Harden could have won it as well. James Harden did phenomenal. You had Westbrook last year, who when Durant went down, he looked like the god.
One of the best stretches in NBA history.
But I think this year you had to go. You had to go James Harden. But it's going to be challenging because now I look at it. Now I just made that prediction. I'm not going to change it right now. But Kevin Durant's back, which I just did not pay attention to, and I still have LeBron James, who you can never count out every year for what he did. So I mean, it's going to be a tough race, but I'm sticking with James.
See, I believe it or not, I'm not going to pick LeBron only because it's like we said, I don't think he'll play. He probably will play less than 70 games this season. His minutes in the first half of the season, I don't think he's going to do anything earth-shattering in the first half. I wanted to say Kyrie Irving only because I think you look at what Kyrie did last season, taking away the injuries. He played the best basketball he's ever played in his life. He became an impact player on the defensive floor. He can score from anywhere on the court. He really is as complete a basketball player as there is. And obviously LeBron James coming in there, his presence changed everything for Kyrie Irving. The only reason I'm not 100% sold on saying he's going to be my MVP for this season is because he has struggled with the injuries throughout his career. He will miss a little bit of the start because of the injuries. Do you think Kyrie's going to have trouble staying healthy based on his track record so far this season?
No, I think he'll be fine. I've heard a lot of reports that he could be out until January. Maybe that really might be beneficial for him. Let it fully heal. Imagine this, Joe. First off, I'm going to put you in this scenario. The Cavaliers start off hot right now. You get Kyrie Irving fully healthy. You go into the postseason like that, highest chance to win the NBA Finals, hands down.
Well, I mean, even if we go back to the finals last season, if Kyrie doesn't get hurt on that play, those NBA Finals are very different.
Oh, most definitely.
Very different. So I think, like you said, they're very good point. Let's wrap up this segment here. I told you I wouldn't try to drag too much Cavs basketball talk into this one. Let's all be honest. We knew that wasn't going to happen, but we'll be back breaking down baseball. I mean, it's not just the NBA. The World Series, kind of a big deal, also starts tonight. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.